Hello and welcome to Radical Catholic. I'm your host, Shula's Show, and today we are talking about what to do when you fail at Lent.
I'm a failure, baby.
Okay, so you did it. You ate the cookie, you logged into Facebook, you hit the snooze, you did whatever it is you promised you wouldn't do, and now you feel like quitting. What do? Okay, first of all, there's a very big difference between accidentally breaking your Lenten vow and doing it on purpose. Like if you gave up chocolate and someone gives you a chocolate chip cookie and you eat it without even thinking, that's not such a big deal, but it's a whole other story if you just do it because you're like, screw it, I need the chocolate. Caramely. Personally, I did both. I gave up watching YouTube videos for Lent, and then I accidentally watched one, and then I started binging on videos from that person, and then after that I was just like, you know what, screw it, I've already broken that, let's just keep it going. Which is kind of a horrible way to go about it, and so now it's time to reassess. So let's see, what do you do when you break your Lenten vow? How do you make things right, or do you stop doing it? Do you do something? Well, what are you supposed to do? What do you do? I would say first thing you should do is to prayerfully reassess why you gave up what you gave up in the first place. Was it because you were hoping it would bring you closer to God? Was it because the thing that you were doing was taking you away from God? Were you getting rid of distraction? Were you getting rid of a temptation? What was it, and why did you give it up? Then ask yourself, why did you fail? Sometimes we fail at our Lenten vow because we didn't set ourselves up for success. Like if you give up chocolate or some kind of food, you need to get rid of all that food from your room or your house or wherever you're going to be. Get it out of your car, get it away so that you're not tempted, so that you don't fall into those old habits. Or if you gave up Facebook or some other kind of social media, something like that, delete the app from your phone, get it off your computer, get it away as much as possible. Even have a friend change your password so that you can't log in even if you want to. Another way to set yourself up for success is to get people to hold you accountable. Tell people what you're doing so that they can help you stay on track. Another reason we sometimes fail at Lent is because we're not being prayerfully vigilant. We're not being mindful. It's important that we ask God every morning, every moment to give us the grace to continue on with our Lenten sacrifice. Because it's not supposed to be about willpower and like, can I do this? When you're falling into temptation, ask God to give you the grace and He will. Because if it was just a moment of weakness and we rely on ourselves to get us through, it's not necessarily going to work. But if we rely on God, it always works. And the third reason we sometimes break our Lenten sacrifice is that we set ourselves up for disaster by doing something just too difficult. It was too far out of our realm. You know, like we should have known that we'd never be able to pray like 3 rosaries a day. We should have known. We should have known. And with me, for my sacrifice of giving up watching YouTube videos, it was kind of all of these things. Like I accidentally fell into it because I didn't set up myself for success, and it was a disaster because I can't set myself up for success for this. I can't delete my YouTube apps and just not go on YouTube at all because look, here I am doing this. Like it's kind of what I do, so I have to go on. So I'm always seeing all these videos and getting distracted, and it's impossible really. So now what? Now I failed and I've decided that it's too hard, I'm not going to go on, so what? I just stop, I'm done, Lent's over for me, it's just... No, if you discern that you want to stick on the path that you were on before and get back on the horse, get back on the wagon and be resolved to keep pushing on, that's great. But if you decide that what you're doing is just too hard and it's not working for you, then you need to either switch to something else or just take it down a notch. Like my options would be, instead of saying I'm not going to watch any YouTube videos, I could say I'm not going to watch any YouTube videos from this time to this time, or on certain days of the week but not on others, something like that. Or it could just switch gears entirely and do something completely different because that's just not going to work out either way. Which is what I'm going to do. Instead of doing anything to do with YouTube, I'm switching to doing some food fasting every day. Remember, Lent is about your journey with God, about you carrying that cross with Christ and sacrificing and suffering with Him. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks that you should be doing or whether or not you should stick to what you're doing or do something else. You need to do what works best for you. So some people may say that I'm being weak or silly by just changing and doing something else just because I fell. And you know what? Maybe they're right. But I've decided that what's best for me is to switch gears and do something else. And that's what works for me. And it doesn't matter what anyone else says. It's perfectly okay to switch gears at any point during Lent. It doesn't matter as long as you're sacrificing. It's much better to do something else than to just say, oh, well, I failed, so I'm done. And when you fall, don't beat yourself up over it. It's okay to make mistakes. It's not like you're failing at Lent. I know I'm using the word fail, but it's not really a failure at all. When you mess up, that means you chose something difficult, and that can be a really good thing. It's way better than choosing something super easy that you never mess up at, but it's not really that much of a sacrifice. And God is more than happy to help us back up and help us maintain the path. And I'm not gonna lie, I felt kind of stupid watching YouTube videos after I'd already told my entire youth group that I was giving it up. I told everyone on the interwebs that I was giving up, and then here I was just completely failing when I'm supposed to be this person like, oh, this is what you should do for Lent, this is how you should fail. But you know what? It's okay, because God still loves me even if you think I'm an idiot. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment below what you're doing for Lent, or what you're doing after you failed for Lent, or if you failed, or are you still going strong? And just remember, if you're not praying, you're straying.
I was prepared to do